Agni Devata comes under his control, Vayu, Surya, everyone is under the control of Lord Indra. Indra is their king. So by taking the post of Indra, he also took the post of all the other demigods. Surya, Indra, Chandra, all the Navgrahas, the 9 grahas, he took all of their position, including Yamaraj's position. So he figured that now that I've taken the post of Yamaraj, which means I control death. And because I control death, death cannot take me. So I am now immortal. So after defeating all of these devatas, he became a very powerful king. But he continued to rule the universe and the earthly planet from his earthly kingdom in a place called Ayodhya. Today it's called Sri Lanka or Lanka.
Sorry, not Ayodhya.
Sorry, Lanka. So today it's called Sri Lanka. So he ruled all of the planetary systems from his headquarters in Lanka. So because he had become so powerful and demoniac, he started rounding up sages. He would round up sages and he would ask them to pray. He will tell them, not ask. He will tell them to pray. He had his other demoniac friends, including many of his brothers and his sons. And they would roam around looking for sadhus. And they will force the sadhus, or they will try to force the sadhus to pray to him. Because they said that Ravan is now God. So you should pray to Ravan. And any sadhu who refused, which is every sadhu, there's no sadhu who would agree to that. So every sadhu who refused, they would kill them and eat their flesh. So they were cannibalistic. The asuras of those days, they kill innocent living entities and they would eat their flesh just like people do nowadays. They kill animals and eat the flesh. So like that they were killing and they would eat the flesh. When sadhus were doing their yajna, they will come and they will throw blood and bones and urine and stool, everything in their yajna style and completely nullify their puja that they were doing. So this practice made Mother Earth very sad. So Mother Earth, generally when this happened, she would take the form of a cow. She assumed the form of a cow, and she would go first to Lord Indra, because he's the king of the Devatas. And generally, when she does that, Lord Indra is usually not in a position to help. Then she would go to Lord Shiva, and generally he's also never in a position to help, and then to Lord Brahma, who is actually the Lord of the universe. And then finally, when Lord Brahma also generally cannot help, because reasons why these personalities cannot help is because many of these demons that get these awesome powers would get them from personalities like Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva. So since they have given them that power, they cannot now take it back. So then they will end up going to Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu is usually the one who will come to their rescue. So in this case, Mother Earth, they arrived in Sweta Dweep. Sweta Dweep is a planet which is around near the pole star. And in Sweta Dweep, there is an ocean of milk. And within that ocean of milk, Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, which is one form of the Purusha. The Lord in his Purusha avatar, he takes 3 forms. He takes one form called Mahavishnu or Karodakashayi Vishnu. The second form he takes is Garbhodakashayi Vishnu. And the third form that he takes is Kshirodakashayi Vishnu. Kshirodakashayi Vishnu is also known as Paramatma. He resides in every soul, every atom. in everyone's heart. So Kshirodakashayi Vishnu has his own planet, and this planet is called Svetadvip, and he resides there, lying on Anantashesh in the ocean of milk. So instead of water, we go to the ocean, we find salt water. So on this planet, there's a huge, vast ocean, and that ocean is consistent of milk. Similarly, in another place of the universe, you can find an ocean that is filled with sugarcane juice. And you can find another ocean that's filled with liquor. And so like that, there are many different substances that you can find in different oceans. In this particular ocean, it's full of milk. So they appealed. Lord Brahma usually heads up the devatas, the demigods, and so he appeared on the shore of the ocean of milk, and he would meditate on Lord Kshirodakashayi Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu would then appear to him. Generally, he is the only one that's able to see Lord Vishnu, and so he will tell Lord Vishnu why they're there. Of course, Lord Vishnu knows everything, but for the sake of the Leela, he pretends like he doesn't know. So he would ask Lord Brahma, how are you doing? Lord Brahma would say, I'm fine. How is everything going in the universe? Everything is going great. And so, how can I help you? He would ask, and then Lord Brahma told him that there is this personality by the name of Ravana who is bothering everyone. And like Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhu nam. So he says, whenever sadhus are devotees, whenever devotees are being bothered by dushkrita, he says, Paritranaya sadhu nam, vinashaya cha dushkrita. Dushkrita are the asuras or the demons, are non-devotees, individuals who are bothering devotees, the sadhus. So he said, when the sadhus are being molested by the dushkritas, the non-sadhus, the non-devotees, then I will descend myself to protect those devotees. So, as we discussed earlier, Ravana was disturbing all of Lord Vishnu's devotees. All of the sadhus, the saints and sages who were doing their yagyas, they do the yagya for two purposes. One purpose is to satisfy a Lord. He is known as Yagya Purush. So when we do a yagya and we have the kund with a fire in the kund, that fire represents the tongue of Lord Vishnu, of the Yagya Purush. So yagya is the performance of the yagya, and Purusha is the Lord of yagya. So Yagya Purush is the benefactor of the yagya. So all of the grains that are offered into the fire is offered to Yagya Purush. It's offered to the Supreme Lord in the form of fire. And the Lord then consumes those grains. Also, when one offers grains in the fire, he receives some benediction. So the sages, because they are devotees and they're concerned about the welfare of everyone, they don't themselves accept all of the benefits from the yagya. They distribute it to all of the citizens. So when a Brahmin performs a yagya, he's not doing it for selfish reasons. He's doing it for the benefit of everyone, for every living entity. Whether we deserve it or not, they're doing it for our benefit. So the Lord, because He knows everything and He resides in everyone's heart, as Kshirodakashayi Vishnu or Paramatma, He knows what is happening. So He knew that His devotees are being bothered by Ravana. So He agreed that I will come, I will descend. So He told Lord Brahma, please go and tell all the other demigods that they should now take birth in Ayodhya. They and their children should take birth in Ayodhya, so that they will be there ahead of time to prepare for my descent. So the Lord, whenever He comes with His entire entourage. Just like you see the Prime Minister goes somewhere, or the President. he brings a whole bunch of people with him, a whole plane load or cars of people. So similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, when He comes, He doesn't just come with 2 or 3 carloads of people or 1 plane load. He comes with whole cities full of people. So all the residents of Ayodhya who took birth in Ayodhya, because the Lord told that I will descend in Ayodhya as the son of Maharaj Dasrath. So they all took birth in Ayodhya. So down on earth, there is this city called Ayodhya, and the king of that city at that time was Maharaj Dasrath. So Maharaj Dasrath was ruling the kingdom for many years, and he was starting to get old, and he couldn't have any children. He had 3 wives, but neither one of his 3 wives could bear any children for him. So he was a bit worried that he will become old and he will have to, at some point he'll have to vacate his throne, and he doesn't have someone that can become king. So he went to his guru, and his guru is, does anyone know the name of his guru? Vashishta Muni. So Vashishta Muni was actually very fortunate. Vashishta Muni, at one point, he had a disciple who wanted to perform a yajna, and he called Vashishta Muni to be the Purohit, the priest. But Vashishta Muni had another offer to be priest for Lord Indra. So he decided to do Indra's yajna, because it's a more prestigious yajna to do than to do for an ordinary disciple. So he asked his disciple to wait so that he can go and perform this yajna for Lord Indra. And the disciple was a little bit impatient. He needed to do this yajna at a certain time, so he couldn't wait. So he called another priest and did the yajna. And now when Vashishta Muni completed the yajna for Lord Indra, and he came back to his disciple, the disciple says, "I'm sorry, Maharaj, yajna is finished." He says, "How can you do the yajna? I told you to wait." He says, "No, I needed to do it at a particular time. You weren't available, so I called another priest." So Vashishta Muni became upset and angry and cursed him. But this disciple of Vashishta Muni was a very powerful yogi himself. And so he counter-cursed Vashishta Muni. And the counter-curse was that he would lose his life and take birth on earth. And when Vashishta Muni knew that his disciple was a very powerful personality, so he became alarmed, because no one wants to take birth on earth. If you're living in the heavenly planets where you're enjoying, thousands of years of life and enjoying the best of foods, and some of them enjoy women. We know the story of Nala Kuvera and Manigriva, the sons of Kuvera, how they got cursed by Narad Muni. We sing those prayers every year during Damodar, during the month of Damodar, during Kartik. So they have all different types of things that they can enjoy. We talked earlier about the ocean of liquor. So some of the residents at heavenly planets, they also enjoy some of these things. They call it Somrasa. So Lord Vashishta Muni was concerned. I'm not saying that Vashishta Muni was enjoying all of these things, but he was situated in the heavenly planets, and he is concerned that now he's going to come and take birth on this earthly planet where we're constantly being troubled by birth, death, old age, and disease. So he went to Lord Brahmani, and he was begging Lord Brahma to relieve him of this curse, and Lord Brahma says, "I'm sorry, I can't do anything." He says, "However, if you accept this curse, then you will it's actually a curse in disguise. It's actually a blessing, because you will become the guru of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord will descend in Ayodhya, and you will get the opportunity to be His guru." So that's how Vasishtha Muni became the guru of Dasarath, Maharaj Dasarath, because he was one of the personalities that came in preparation of the Lord descending. So Maharaj Dasarath went to his guru Vasishtha Muni and he said, "My dear Guru Maharaj, I have a small predicament." So Vasishtha Muni said, "What is the predicament?" He says, "Well, as you know, I'm getting old, and pretty soon I will want to give up my throne. But I don't have a replacement. I don't have anyone that can replace me." So Vasishtha Muni said, "Well, there is a way that you can solve that problem, and the way you can do it is if you do this yajna. There is a particular yajna that you can do. You know, every month, twice a month we keep Ekadashi. So there is one Ekadashi that's called Putrada Ekadashi. So Putra means son. So according to Shastra, if someone wants to have a male child, they observe Putrada Ekadashi fully and properly, then they will be blessed with a son. So there are yajnas also that one can do in order to obtain a male child, a son. And in the case of Maharaj Dasarath, he wanted that. So his guru Vasishtha Muni suggested that he could do this yajna. So he decided to do the yajna. And when he did the yajna, from the fire, a personality appeared, Yajna Purush. The Supreme Lord appeared through the fire and gave him a bowl of pious sweet rice. So Maharaj Dasarath took that sweet rice and he took it home. And he had 3 wives. But his favorite wife was Kaikeyi, was the most recent wife. She was the favorite. So he wanted to give it all to her, but it would look bad. So he had to give to the senior wife as well. So the senior wife is Kaushalya. So he gave half to Kaushalya and half to Kaikeyi. So now the two of them felt bad that if we enjoy this sweet rice, this yajna sweet rice, then we have another, they will call each other sister. So we have another sister which is Sumitra. So she will feel bad and she will feel left out. So they each took one portion of the sweet rice that they received and they gave it to her. So, like his guru Vasishtha Muni said, in due course of time, all 3 wives conceived. And shortly thereafter, all 3 of them gave birth. So the oldest wife, the most senior wife, I should say not the oldest, but the most senior wife was Kaushalya. So she gave birth to 1 son, and he was named Ram. And Sumitra gave birth to twins, and they were known as Bharat and Shatrugna. Lakshman and Shatrugna. And Kaikeyi gave birth to a son, and he was known as Bharat. So as we know from scripture, that the Lord has quadruple expansion. Lord Vishnu has a quadruple expansion, and they're known as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradumna, and Aniruddha. So Vasudev was the personality that took incarnation as Lord Ramachandra. Sankarshan took incarnation as Lakshman. Pradumna took incarnation as Bharat. And Aniruddha took incarnation as Shatrugna. Now also in the Bhagavatam, Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 9th canto, there is a brief summary of the appearance of Lord Ramachandra. And in there, in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explained that in some places in our scripture we will find that the Lord take incarnation, these 4 quadruple expansions took incarnation as Ram, Bharat, Lakshman, and Shatrugna. And then also, in other places in the scripture, it explains that the four symbols of Lord Vishnu took incarnation as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna. And the four symbols are, does anyone know those four symbols? Yes. Padma, Gadha, Chakra, Shankh. Right? So those four symbols of the Lord took incarnation. So Prabhupada said, this is not a contradiction. It's not a contradiction. The reason it's not a contradiction is because the Lord appears every Treta Yuga. So in one day of Lord Brahma, there's 1,000 Treta Yugas. So in one day of Lord Brahma, Lord Ramachandra appears 1,000 times. So approximately every 4.3 million years, Lord Ramachandra appears. It's like a drama, you know. Sometimes people, you might have a drama troupe, and they perform a particular drama in a city, like in Toronto, for example. And then after some time, when they run their course, they will move to another city like New York or Chicago, and they'll do the same drama. Basically or mostly, it's the same actors that travel from city to city to perform these dramas. That's not to say that the Lord is an actor. Well, He's the supreme actor. So the Lord appears, like we discussed earlier, Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya chadushkitam. The Lord appears millennia after millennia, yuge, millennia after millennia, to protect His devotees and to annihilate the miscreants or non-devotees. So these four personalities that appeared as Ram, Lakshman, Bharat, and Shatrugna appeared to the four wives. And when they were about the age of 5, generally in Vedic times, when the children reaches the age of 5, they will go off to Gurukul. So they were sent to the Gurukul of Vasishtha Muni. So Guru means teacher, and Kul means house. So in Vedic times, the Guru would run his school from his house. So this is called Gurukul. And the boys will go and they will stay at the Guru's house from approximately 5 years of age until they are approximately 25 years of age. And they will become fully educated, and they will return home to their parents fully educated. So this practice was followed by Brahmins, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas during the Vedic times. So they went to the king, Maharaj Janak, and they pleaded with him to help them. So Maharaj Janak decided that he will go personally to help. So he went out and he was holding the plow as they were plowing the land. And so at the head of the plow, there is a part of the plow, the head is called a seat. So that seat hit some hard object and wouldn't move anymore. So the king asked the men to dig it up, dig up whatever it was. So they started digging and they found this big crate, a big box, a golden box. And when they took the box out and they opened the box, inside this box was a beautiful baby girl. So Maharaj Janak didn't have any children. So he took this girl and he named her Sita because she was discovered from the seat, the head of the plow. So he called her Sita. And Mother Sita was a very wonderful girl growing up. It's a funny word to use for the Supreme Lord, because Mother Sita is a part, you know, she's part and parcel of the Supreme. She's the internal potency of the Lord. So she's also the Supreme Lord. So it's a very funny word to use, girl. But anyway, in the Leela, she took the form of an ordinary girl, and Lord Ram took the form of an ordinary boy. and they, they pretended to be ordinary living entities when they were in fact the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And so she was very extraordinary. Maharaj Janak had this bow that belonged to Lord Shiva. Maharaj Janak was actually a great devotee of Lord Shiva, and he was given this bow for safekeeping. And so he had this bow. The bow was actually a bow that was, there's a whole story behind it, but the bow originally belonged to Lord Vishnu. And the bow was handed, it went to Lord Parashuram, and then it went to Lord Shiva, and so on. So this bow has a very long history, which we won't get into right now. But Maharaj Janak had this bow, and that bow was given to Maharaj Janak for a particular reason, because it will be involved in the Lord's pastime. So this bow was kept there, but this bow was so heavy, because it belonged to the Supreme Lord. No one could touch it, no one could lift it, except the devotee of the Lord. So one day, Mother Sita, when she was a little girl, she was playing with her ball, and the ball rolled into their puja room underneath the stand that the bow was kept on. And she wanted to get the ball, but she couldn't get it. She tried to reach and she couldn't get the ball. Finally, she just lifted up the stand and took the ball. And Maharaj Janak saw this, and he thought this was extraordinary, because it took thousands of men to lift that bow to bring it to that spot. And here this little girl, little 5-year-old girl, or however old she was at the time, just effortlessly lifted that bow to get the ball. So when he saw that, he was determined that she was a special person. So he said, for a special daughter like her, no ordinary man can marry her. There has to be a special man. And that man has to be one who is capable of lifting that bow also. So he had a swayamvar. So in Vedic times, the kings, the princesses, the fathers didn't just find a husband for them. They allowed them to choose a husband of their choice. So they will have something called a swayamvar, where many kings and princes will come from all over the place, and they would have an opportunity she would have an opportunity to look at them and choose who she wanted for her husband. And so Maharaj Janak arranged this swayamvar and invited many kings and princes from all over the universe. And Vishwamitra, and he invited many saints and sages to come there to bless the occasion. So Vishwamitra Muni came, and he brought with him Ram and Lakshman. So when they came to the swayamvar, the bow was brought out and put in the middle of the assembly hall, and every king had an opportunity to, they were given an opportunity to see if they could lift that bow. So many kings came and tried. Even Ravan was also there. He disguised himself and he also came. And he was also powerless. He couldn't lift that bow, because no non-devotee of the Lord can touch that bow. And so when all the kings and all the princes tried and no one could lift the bow, the mother of Sita, what is her name? Does anyone know her name?
Sunanda.
No, it wasn't Sunanda.
Sita Mata. Sita ki mother.
Yeah, she had a different name. Sunaina.
Sunaina.
So her name is Sunaina. So she started lamenting. She's saying, oh my God, my husband has decided to do this ceremony, and now nobody can lift this bow. My daughter will remain unmarried for the rest of her life. So she was on one side lamenting. So then, finally, the time was right. Vishwamitra Muni asked Lord Ram to come, and I'm not telling all the details, Otherwise, we'll be sitting here for days. So Lord Ram asked, Vishwamitra Muni asked Lord Ram to go and try. He used the word try to lift the bow. So Lord Ramachandra went, and he lifted the bow, and then he tried to string the bow. And when he tried to he wrapped the string around and tightened the string, the bow broke. And when then the bow broke, then Maharaj Janak said, "This is the husband for my daughter." He called Mother Sita. She came and she garlanded Lord Ram, and then they sent a message to Ayodhya for Maharaj Dasrath to come and for them to perform the wedding ceremony. Generally, in Vedic style weddings, the main ceremony, the actual wedding takes place in the bride's house. Nothing happens really in the groom's house. He is just there for ornament. It's the bride's day. So Maharaj Janak came and started making arrangements for the wedding. But then it came to light that Maharaj Janak had another daughter, and his younger brother, had two daughters as well, and they were all of marriageable age. So they decided that it would be a great idea to marry the four sisters to the four brothers. And so Lord Ram was married to Mother Sita. Lakshman was married to, what's his wife's name? Urmila. And Bharat was married to Madhavi. And Shatrughan was married to, I just remember the name and it slipped my mind, Shrutakirti. So these were the four wives of the four lords. And so they performed a quadruple marriage ceremony, and everyone headed back to, I was going to say Delhi, Ayodhya. So now, the Lord Ramachandra was such a powerful personality that everyone that saw him immediately became attracted to him. And all of the residents of Ayodhya had became attracted to the Lord because of his exemplary behavior. Again, he was playing the part of an ordinary ordinary human being. So they became enamored or attracted to the qualities of Lord Ramachandra, and he became very famous in the kingdom. So he became so famous, he was crowned what's called crown prince, which means he is in line to the throne. In the meantime, Kaikeyi's father, his name is Kaikeya, he became ill. So a message came that he was ill, and Bharat was sent to comfort him and to be with him in his old age. He was ready to die almost. He was very ill. And so Bharat was sent off to Kaikeyi's father's house. And Shatrughan, who was attached to Bharat, like Lakshman was always attached to Lord Ram, Shatrughan was always attached to Lord Bharat. And so he went along with him to Maharaj Kaikeya's kingdom. And while they were gone, Maharaj Vashishta Muni suggested to Maharaj Dasrath that actually the constellation is good now, everything is lined up properly, and now is a good time that you can make Ram king, because you're not getting any younger and soon you'll have to give up the throne. Now is the best time, astrologically speaking, the constellations are all lined up in a particular way, and this is the best time for you to crown Lord Ram. So when when this was decided that Lord Ram would be crowned king, the message got out to the entire city of Ayodhya that this was going to happen. So there was huge celebration everywhere. Everyone was happy. They were celebrating because they were happy to see Lord Ram would be crowned king. And even Kaikeyi, the mother of Bharat, she was also very happy. She was enjoying, she was making all kinds of plans. But she had a maid that she brought with her. Generally in Vedic times when a princess gets married, she would bring all her maid servants with her to her husband's house. So she brought this maid servant who was an older maid servant. She actually looked after Kaikeyi from the time she was born. She was her nurse, her nurse, and so she was so attached to her that when she got married, she came along with her as well. But she had a bit of an evil mind. So she instigated Kaikeyi that if Ram becomes crowned king, you will be brushed aside, because his mother will become queen mother. And you will be brushed aside, you'll be nothing. So you should try to get your son Bharat to be crowned king. Then you will become queen mother. Already you are the favorite queen, so you will become queen mother. So Kaikeyi said, I can't do this. Why are you telling me to do this? So anyway, she worked on her and brainwashed her. So Kaikeyi became fully brainwashed. And she said, well, how can I do this? She says, well, Maharaj Dasrath had once upon a time, he had given you 3 boons. Is it 3 boons or 2? 2 boons. 3? 2 boons. So he gave you 2 boons. So now is the time for you to take those boons. So she says, I don't need the boon. What am I going to do with the boon? I have everything I want. Then Kaikeyi told her, no, you take those boons. 1 boon, you should ask for Ram to be banished. Sorry? You should ask for Ram to be banished. But Ram is such a smart boy, he might find some way of coming back. So ask that he be banished to the forest. So banish means, okay, you banish him, he could go to another city that's controlled by Maharaj Dasrath, or a village. So he said, no, ban him to the forest. And second, what was the second boon she asked for? That her son Bharat should become king. So Kaikeyi, in those days, 2 women cannot live in the same house. So each queen had their own palace. They can't live together, they'll fight, right? So, you probably see when you go to work and so many ladies are working, sometimes they get into fights all the time. So they keep them apart. So, especially if they're wives, they're rival wives, they will fight. So each one had their own palace. So there's one palace that's called a pleasure palace. So she went to this pleasure palace and she was exhibiting displeasure. She did all kinds of different things. Anyway, so finally she got the word out. This is what she wanted. She asked the king promised, yes, I'll give you. So there's a famous verse, they say, Yahi Gulari to Sada, whatever word is given by a Raghu king is never taken back. So he had given his word, and Lord Ramachandra was banished to the forest. And Mother Sita, being a very devoted wife, she also went along with him. And Lakshman went along because he was always attached. So they all went to the forest. Now, Dasrath couldn't bear his son separating from him, and he started grieving. He was grieving over Lord Ram, that Lord Ram had left. And through this process of grieving, he died. He couldn't bear to be separated. He left his body. But there were no sons at the time to perform his funeral rites. So the body was preserved until a message was sent for Lord Bharat to come and come back. And when he came back, he had the displeasure of having to perform the last rites for his father, and he found out the whole story. So he took all the citizens of Ayodhya and went to the forest to look for Lord Ram. He found Lord Ram, and he said, I want you to come back and become king. And Lord Ram said, I'm sorry, I cannot do that, because our father had a wish that I be sent to the forest and you become king. So I cannot dishonor him by reversing his wish. Actually, it wasn't his wish, but it was his boon. And it was a mother's wish. So Bharat tried everything that he could, but he couldn't convince Lord Ram to come back. So Lord Ram said, no, it's your responsibility to rule the kingdom. So Bharat went, and so Bharat said, fine, well, if you're gonna... When Lord Ramachandra went to the forest, he changed into the dress of a sannyasi. He removed his crown, removed all of his royal vestige, and he wore simple clothing. And because he was living in the forest, he ate like a forest dweller would eat. He ate roots and fruits. It's all he ate. So Lord Bharat said, fine, if you're not going to come back, you're determined to stay here and dress like this and eat like this, then I will do the same. And you, Bharat says, because you're greater than me, you're sleeping, I cannot bear to see you sleeping on straw and grass, then I will sleep the same way. But I will not sleep on the same earth that you are sleeping, I will sleep below the earth. So he went back and he went to Mathura, and he says, if you're not going to live in a city, then I will not live in a city either. I will go and live in a village somewhere. So he also changed his clothes and became like a mendicant, like a sannyasi. And he dug a hole in the ground, and he would sleep in that hole at night, and he will eat fruits and roots. And he took the sandals of the Lord and put it on the throne, and he says, you're the rightful owner of this throne, I will not sit on it. So he put Lord Ram's sandals on the throne, and he would worship the sandals every day and live like this. So this went on for about 13 years. So in the meantime, back in the forest, Lord Ram was roaming the forest. He met many sages, got their darshan and so on, and protected many of the sages from the demons that Ravan was sending around. And then finally he arrived at a place called, what was that place he was staying? The final place in the forest where he stayed. So he was staying in that forest is called Dandak forest. So he had a little kutir there, a little hut where he lived. And one day, he called Agni Dev, the demigod that's in charge of fire. And he said, now I am prepared to go on to the next stage of my lila. So this will be a dangerous part of my lila. So Mother Sita cannot be here for this. So I would like you to take her to the heavenly planets and keep her safe. So when he said that, Mother Sita also agreed that this is the best thing. So Mother Sita, the shadow of Mother Sita came off of Mother Sita and stayed behind. So this Sita is called Maya Sita. Maya means illusion. So the illusory part of Mother Sita stayed behind, and the real Mother Sita went to the heavenly planets in the care of Agni Dev. And so in the meantime, Ravan sent Ravan's sister. So Ravan's brothers were roaming the forest, and they came in contact with Lord Ram, and they fought with Lord Ram. Lord Ram defeated and killed them. And then along with them was his sister. Her name was Supanak. And she came and she saw Lord Ramachandra. She fell in love with him because he was so well built, nice, muscular, and very good look, very beautiful, and so she fell in love with him. She wanted to marry him. So Lord Ram said, I'm sorry, I can't marry you. I already have a wife. She said, no, she's nothing. You marry me. I'm the sister of Ravan. He's the king of the universe. Anything you want, you can have. So she came to find out how Ram was exiled. Don't worry about that. I will get you a kingdom. You will live like a king again. He says, no, I'm sorry. Why didn't you marry my brother Lakshman? He's here. He doesn't have his wife. He doesn't have a wife with him. So then she started having her eye on Lakshman. So then Lakshman said, no, I can't marry you. I have to be here to look after my brother and my sister-in-law. I have to serve them. So Shubhanaka became very angry. She said, why because of this woman, neither one of you want to marry me. So I'm going to eat her. So the trick. The demons are tricking you. She said, no, nobody's tricking me. It's a golden deer. I want it. So Lord Rama said, okay, you want it, you can have it. So he goes out to look for the deer. And he told Lakshman to stay because Lord Ram knew exactly what was happening. He knew it was the demons and he knew the Leela is taking place this way. So he said, okay. He told Lakshman, Lakshman, you stay here and protect her. I will go and bring this deer back. So Lord Ram is chasing after the deer. And then at one point, he shot the deer. And when he shot the deer disguised his voice like the voice of Lord Ram. And he said, Lakshman! Lakshman! Help me! So when Mother Sita heard this, she said, isn't that the voice of Ram? And Lakshman said, no, it's just that the demons are making... No, it's the voice of Ram. He's in trouble. Go help him. Lakshman said, I can't go. Lord Ram told me to stay here and protect you. She said, no, I don't need protection. You go. So there was a big argument that ensued. Anyway, finally, Mother Sita won the argument, and Lord Lakshman decided to go to so-called rescue Lord Ram. And so before he left, he drew a circle around the cottage. So the circle is called Lakshman Rekha. Nowadays they have a chalk they sell in India. If you want to kill cockroaches, they call it Lakshman Rekha. You put a circle around your food or whatever, no cockroach or ants or anything will come. So that's not the real Lakshman Rekha. The real Lakshman Rekha is this circle that the Lakshman drew around the cottage. He said, don't step out of the circle. So the minute Lakshman left, Ravan disguised himself as a sannyasi and he came. And what do sannyasis do? They beg. So they go around and they yell, Bhiksha! So they want donations. So they'll come and the householder will give them, food or whatever. Mostly it's raw food, rice or something, they go home and cook it. So he came to beg. And he came to Mother Sita and she says, I'm sorry, my husband is not here and I cannot leave this cottage. He said, no, you should come. He said, no, but he couldn't cross that line to go in. But Mother Sita could cross it to come out. So he insisted and convinced her to come out. Because she thought it was just an ordinary yogi, sadhu. And the minute she stepped out of the line, he threw off his sadhu garb and reassumed. He also had the ability to change his form. See, he reassumed his original demoniac form, and he kidnapped her and took her away on this flying airplane to Lanka. So as he was going, there was a bird that was a friend of Maharaj Dasrath. His name was Jatayu. So Jatayu was now very old, but he tried to save Mother Sita. Well, because he was very old, he couldn't save her. Ravan chopped off his wings and he fell to the ground. So in the meantime, Lord Ram came back, couldn't find Mother Sita. They went chasing, looking everywhere for her. They met Jatayu. And Jatayu told them what happened and that Ravan had flown south. So they started going south. They arrived at a mountain top. And on this mountain top, they met, who did they meet there? They met Hanuman. Hanuman was disguised as a Brahmin. He was actually a very powerful, is a very powerful devotee of Lord Ram, and he also had the ability to change his form and, into a different form or into a bigger or smaller form, however. So he disguised the king of the monkeys, Sugriva, was exiled by his brother in this mountain. His brother had actually usurped his kingdom and his wife and chased him away, and so he ended up on top of this mountain with his few trusted ministers, and Hanuman was one of his trusted ministers. So Hanuman used to be on the lookout just to make, because Sugriv's brother Bali is always looking to find him so that he can beat him and want to kill him. So they were always looking out for Bali or Bali's men. So in the meantime, Hanuman found him. Hanuman was disguised as a Brahmin, and Hanuman, to find out who they were, and when he found out who they were, he was flabbergasted that the Supreme Personality of Godhead had come. So he embraced him, and then he grew into this giant form, and he put Rama and Lakshmana on his shoulders and flew them to Rishabuk, the top of the mountain, where Lord Ram, where his Lord, which is his king, Sugriv was residing in a cave, and there he met Lord Ram, met them, and they allied themselves together, became friends and allies. Lord Ram helped Sugriva to regain his kingdom by putting him to fight and kill Bali, and then from there they sent monkey warriors all over, east, west, north, south, to look for Mother Sita. And so finally the group that was headed by Bali's son, does anyone know his son's name? Angad. So his group arrived at the shore of the ocean, and that place today is called what? Rameshwaram. So he arrived in Rameshwaram, and there they met another big bird. What is his name? No. Jambavan is not a bird.
Jambavan is the guru of Hanuman.
No, he's not a guru of Hanuman. Jambavan is a monkey, is a bear. Is a son of Lord Brahma. No, they met a bird. So the bird is the, okay, I'll give you a hint. He's the brother of Garuda. What's his name? So his name is Sampati. Yeah. So Sampati had actually got his wings burnt because when they were young, he and Garuda were flying. You know, young boys, they always try to get into mischief. So they were wanting to fly to the sun planet. So, but they are not qualified. They weren't qualified to go to the sun planet. Anyway, later on Garuda became qualified because of course he became the carrier of Lord Vishnu, can go anywhere. But anyway, they were flying, and as they got closer to the planet, it was getting hotter and hotter. And Garuda is the older brother of Sampati. So naturally the older brother wants to protect the younger brother. So he didn't want his younger brother to get burned. Sampati was the older brother to Garuda, so he didn't want his brother to get burned, so he spread his wings in front of him to cover him. And his wings got burned, and he fell down to that place. And he was left on top of that mountain top. He couldn't fly anymore. So he told them, yes, I saw Mother Sita being taken across the ocean. So across the ocean was a place called Lanka. Today it's called Sri Lanka. So now they're wondering how they're going to get across this ocean. So they're sitting there wondering, how can they go across the ocean? So then all of a sudden, the person that you said was Hanuman's guru. What's his name again? Jambavan. Jambavan reminded Hanuman that he had special powers. See, what had happened was Hanuman is actually an incarnation of Lord Shiva. And there's a whole story how he got the form as a monkey, but I won't get into that now. So Hanuman, when he was a young boy, again, mischievous, little boys are very mischievous, So he used to take the sadhus when they sit there in meditation. He would lift them up and toss them in the air, and you know how you see people, they have those balls and they juggle. So he will juggle the sadhus in the air and do different funny things. And so they're ready to do the arti. So anyway, he reminded Hanuman of his powers. Hanuman flew across the ocean, went to Lanka, saw Mother Sita, delivered a ring what did he deliver? A ring? He delivered a ring to her. She gave him something to bring back to Lord Ram. In the meantime, Hanuman decided to show some of his powers to Ravan, to put some fear in them. So he got himself caught. He was trying to destroy the grove, and he got caught. They lit his tail on fire. He burned down the entire Lanka. And then he flew back across the ocean. He told Lord Ram. Lord Ram came, built a bridge across the ocean, came across, fought Ravan and all of his sons, defeated all of them, killed all of them, including Ravan. And he retrieved Mother Sita. Agni Dev came back. He delivered the real Sita, and the illusory, the Maya Sita, got burned in that flame. And then he took Sita back to Ayodhya. They were crowned king and queen. Then at some point, Mother Sita left because people were bickering in the city. She went north, and she met, who did she meet? Valmiki Muni. And she stayed in his ashram. She was pregnant at the time when she arrived there. She had twins, Love and Kush, 2 sons. And in due course of time, the 2 sons learned the whole Ramayana from Valmiki as he was writing the Ramayana. And they came back to Ayodhya. They tried to convince the citizens that Mother Sita was pure and spotless. Nobody would listen to them. Mother Sita was then asked to come to the assembly and declared in front of everyone that she was sinless. She came. She was annoyed that was happening, but she came anyways. But it was the time for her to end her Leela, and so she came and she swore that she knew no one else but Lord Ram, and if that's a lie, then if it was the truth, then the earth should open, that she go back to where she came from. So she made that oath in front of everyone. The earth opened. Mother Earth came and received her and took her back, and she went back to Lord Vishnu, to her original position as Mother Lakshmi, down at the bottom of the universe in the Garbhodak ocean. And in due course of time, Lakshman left, and his Leela was over. He rounded up his Leela and he left. And then shortly thereafter, Lord Ram divided the kingdom to all the sons of him, his 2 sons and his brother's sons, and they all went to Sarayu and they immersed themselves and they wound up their pastimes. Hanuman wanted to go. Lord Ram said, "No, don't go, wait, because I'll come again, and when I come I'll need your assistance." So when Krishna came after, about 2 million years later, Lord Krishna appeared. 2 million years less 5,000. Lord Krishna appeared, and he required the help of Hanuman to guide his chariot. And Hanuman is still sitting up in the Himalayas in Badrika Ashram, meditating. If anyone goes, they have the eyes, they will be able to see him. So now we'll have Arti. Shri Shri Ram Vijay Utsava Ki Jai. Shri Sita Ram.